What if I told you superpowers were real? No, I'm not talking about your favorite comic book heroes or the latest blockbuster movie. Do you guys even know what Blockbuster was? I'm talking about real-life people walking among us right now who have abilities that sound straight out of a sci-fi flick. But here's the twist. These superpowers aren't just the result of radioactive spiders or secret government experiments. They come from some of the strangest, rarest, and downright bizarre medical conditions known to science. In this video, we're diving into the wild world of disorders that can give you abilities that most people can only dream of, or have nightmares about. From super strength to incredible endurance, these conditions blur the line between a blessing and a curse. And while they might sound cool at first, trust me, there's a dark side to these superhuman abilities that's anything but glamorous. So buckle up as we explore the craziest disorders that can actually give you superpowers. Just remember, not all heroes wear capes, and sometimes they'd rather not have their powers at all.
Number 1, super strength. First up, let's talk about a condition that sounds like it was ripped straight out of a superhero's origin story. Myostatin-related muscle hypertrophy. If you've ever wished you could be as strong as the Hulk, this might be the closest you can get in real life. People with this disorder have an incredible ability to pack on muscle. Myostatin is a protein that normally limits muscle growth, but in these individuals, the production of myostatin is significantly reduced, allowing their muscles to grow much larger and much stronger. Imagine hitting the gym once and walking out looking like you've been lifting for years. That's the kind of strength we're talking about. One of the most famous cases is that of Liam Hoekstra, no relation to Hooktua, often dubbed the world's strongest toddler. By the time he was 3 years old, Liam could do pull-ups and had muscles that would make grown men jealous. While this might sound like a dream come true for any aspiring bodybuilder, there's a downside. People with this condition can struggle with flexibility, and their bodies require enormous amounts of calories to maintain those superhuman muscles. Plus, finding clothes that fit? Good luck with that, but you won't need clothes with a body looking that good. But before you start dreaming about a life of effortless muscle gains, remember that this superpower comes with its own set of challenges. It's not just about looking like a superhero. Number 2, super memory.
Next on our list is a condition that gives you a memory so sharp you might wish you could forget a few things. Hyperthymesia. People with hyperthymesia have an extraordinary ability to remember every detail of their lives. And I mean every detail. We're talking about recalling what they ate for breakfast on a random Tuesday 15 years ago, or what the weather was like on the day they started kindergarten. One of the most famous cases is Jill Price, who can remember almost every day of her life in vivid detail. Sounds like a neat party trick, right? But here's where it gets tricky. While it might be cool to recall the exact lyrics to every song you've ever heard, imagine not being able to forget your most embarrassing moments. Ever. That time you tripped in front of your high school crush? That time you had to fart, but it was more of a 2-for-1 deal? Yeah, people with hyperthymesia relive those cringeworthy moments as if they happened yesterday. The downside to this superpower is that it can be overwhelming. Constantly reliving the past can lead to anxiety and make it difficult to live in the present. It's like having a DVR for the rest of your life that never runs out of space and never lets you erase anything. So while you might impress friends with your photographic memory,
3424-1804-1835-3668.
This is one superpower that comes with a heavy mental burden. But before we jump into the next mind-blowing superpower, I've got a quick challenge for you. If you could pick one of these real-life powers, which one would you choose? Drop your choice in the comments below. And while you're down there, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe for more weird and wonderful facts. Alright, let's see if super memory is really what it's all cracked up to be.
Number 3, super pain tolerance.
What if you could walk on hot coals, break bones, or touch a flame without feeling a thing? Sounds like the ultimate superpower, right? Well, that's what life is like for those with congenital insensitivity to pain, CIP. This rare condition means that people literally cannot feel pain. You might think that's awesome, but before you go looking for your superhero costume, there's a dark side to this power. For starters, pain is your body's way of telling you that something is wrong. Without it, you could seriously injure yourself without even realizing it. Kids with CIP often end up with cuts, bruises, and even broken bones that go unnoticed because they can't feel the damage. One girl with this condition was known to chew on her own tongue as a baby because she didn't feel any pain. She had no idea she was hurting herself. People with CIP have to be incredibly careful, constantly checking themselves for injury that they can't feel. Something as simple as a sprained ankle could turn into a serious issue if it goes untreated. And let's not forget about illness. Fevers and infections could go unnoticed until it's too late. So while the ability to endure pain might feel like a superpower, it's really a double-edged sword that can make life incredibly dangerous.
Number 4, supervision.
Ever wondered what it would be like to see the world in more colors than anyone else? People with tetrachromacy can do just that. Most of us have 3 types of color receptors in our eyes, red, green, and blue. But those with tetrachromacy have a 4th type, allowing them to see a broader spectrum of colors. Imagine being able to distinguish between shades of a color that all look the same to the rest of us. It's like having HD vision in a world stuck in standard definition. One famous case is that of Conchetta Antico, an artist who can see an estimated 100 million colors compared to the average person's 1 million. For someone like her, a simple sunset or a field of flowers becomes a dazzling display of hues and shades that most of us could never even imagine. Sounds pretty amazing, right? But as with all these conditions, there's a catch. Having supervision means that everyday tasks can become overwhelming. Choosing paint colors for your house, good luck. Or maybe just shopping for a nice colored shirt. Yeah, that's going to be a little time consuming. What looks like a subtle difference to the rest of us might be glaringly obvious to the tetrachromat. And while they might see the world in stunning detail, it can be difficult to convey that existence to others. After all, how do you describe a color that no one else can see? Number 5. Incredible endurance. Now let's get out our candles because we're going to get a little spooky here. We're talking about a condition that's straight out of vampire lore. Now bear with me, this is a mouthful. Congenital erythropoietic protoporphyria, also known as CEP. People with CEP have a rare genetic disorder that affects their blood, giving them an incredible endurance that sounds almost supernatural. Their bodies produce excess porphyrins, which can cause their skin to become extremely sensitive to sunlight, and in some cases it can even lead to a slight reddish tint on their teeth, a detail that likely inspired vampire myths. But beyond the vampire vibes, CEP has another effect. It boosts the body's ability to produce red blood cells, which can enhance endurance and physical resilience. Imagine running a marathon and feeling like you can just keep going and going. Sounds like a superpower, right? However, life with CEP isn't all about super endurance. The condition can lead to severe skin damage, especially when exposed to sunlight. Those with CEP often have to live like modern-day vampires, avoiding the sun at all costs. And while the idea of having super endurance might sound appealing, the reality is far from glamorous. It's a life of constant vigilance, sunscreen, and long sleeves, even on the hottest days.
Number 6. Super hearing.
If you've ever wished you could hear a pin drop from across the room, you might want to rethink that after hearing about hyperacusis. This condition gives people an extreme sensitivity to sound, meaning they can hear things most of us would never even notice. At first, it might sound like a cool party trick, but living with hyperacusis is anything but easy. Imagine every sound around you is turned up to 11. The rustle of leaves, deafening. The hum of a refrigerator, unbearable. Everyday noises that most of us tune out just become overwhelming, making it difficult to focus or relax. People with this condition often have to wear earplugs or noise-canceling headphones just to get through the day. While having heightened hearing might seem like a superpower, it's far more of a curse. The constant barrage of noise can lead to anxiety, stress, and even depression. Simple activities like going to the grocery store or watching TV just become challenges to be endured rather than enjoyed. So while it might sound like a cool ability, hyperacusis is a reminder that sometimes having superpowers isn't all that it's cracked up to be.
Number 7. Super healing.
Hemihyperplasia is a condition where one side of the body grows faster than the other. And while that might sound like a recipe for awkwardness, there's an unusual side effect. Super healing. In some cases, the side of the body that's affected by hemihyperplasia can regenerate tissue and heal faster than the unaffected side. It's like having Wolverine's healing factor, but only on one half of your body. Imagine cutting yourself on your right hand and watching it heal up in record time, while the same cut on your left hand takes the usual days to mend. Sounds incredible, right? But here comes the downside. The uneven growth can lead to a host of conditions, including differences in limb length, asymmetry in facial features, and an increased risk of tumors. Living with hemihyperplasia is a constant balancing act, enjoying the benefits of rapid healing on one side while managing the challenges that come with uneven growth. It's a reminder that even the most impressive superpowers often come with a hefty price tag.
Number 8. Super agility.
Lastly, let's talk about a condition that can make you as flexible as a circus performer. Ehlers-Danlos syndrome, or EDS. This group of disorders affects connective tissue, making them unusually elastic. People with EDS can bend their bodies in ways that seem impossible to the rest of us. Ever wanted to touch your thumb to your forearm or bend your pinky in a right angle? People with EDS do it without breaking a sweat. But while this might sound like the ultimate party trick, EDS isn't all fun and games. The same flexibility that lets people contort their bodies also makes them prone to joint dislocations, chronic pain, and other serious health issues. It's a classic example of a superpower that comes with a significant cost. Living with EDS means being constantly aware of your body's limits, because pushing them too far can lead to injury. So while the idea of being super flexible like the mom on The Incredibles might sound appealing, the reality is far more complicated. It's a reminder that not all superpowers are as cool as they seem. So what have we learned here today? Superpowers might not just be the stuff of comic books and movies. They exist in the real world, but they often come with a catch, a pretty heavy one. Whether it's super strength, enhanced memory, or the ability to heal rapidly, these so-called powers are as much of a burden as they are a blessing. These disorders remind us that the human body is capable of incredible things, but there's always a balance. What might seem like a gift could turn out to be a curse in disguise. So the next time you wish for superpowers, remember that with great power comes, a whole lot of complications. If you enjoyed this dive into the weird and wonderful world of real-life superpowers, be sure to hit that like button and subscribe for more fascinating content. And let us know in the comments, which superpower would you choose? Or would you rather stick with being a plain old human? Thanks for watching. Stay super.